Welcome back to Raised by Giants discussion. I'm your host, Ryder Lee. Welcome any moderators and channel members out there. And if you're watching on YouTube or X, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, or if you're watching the replay, welcome to the show. All of my social media links are in the description: Facebook, Instagram, X. Great ways to stay connected. Links to watch my documentaries, JFKX and The Clockwork, Shining on Amazon Prime and Tubi, are also in the description. Still in the process of making my upcoming documentary, Psychic Agent. If you're new to the channel, thanks for subscribing. I was on InfoWars over the weekend, The Rundown Live, and Sean Atwood. So if you're here from any of those places, thanks for being here. Leave a comment down below so that I know where you're from. A brand new channel members only episode dropped yesterday. I know I haven't released one in a while, but thank you to all the channel members. I haven't forgotten about you. Consider becoming a channel member today to get access to bonus content and help support the show. Also, don't forget to check out Raised by Giants on Ground Zero Radio Plus with Clyde Lewis, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. and Saturday, 5 p.m. on the Ground Zero Plus Radio Network. Link is in the description. With that down, we have with us today podcaster, host, researcher, Melissa Don. Welcome back to the show. It's good to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me on, Ryder.
Well, a lot has transpired since the last time you were on the show. We got breaking news today. The owner of OnlyFans has died at age of 43 from cancer, supposedly. And
Wow.
I find this interesting. Steve Jobs also died from cancer. And this is a multi-million-dollar company that this gentleman has created. I believe that I looked at statistics the other day, and the amount of users on OnlyFans is ridiculously high in the United States. But fortunately, it's just a bunch of people that never really make a lot of money. We only hear about the ones that make like millions of dollars on OnlyFans,
Of course.
the really big and popular ones. But majority, around 90% of the content creators on OnlyFans do not make a livable wage. So they're essentially just, showing their hoo-ha for absolutely no reason and for very little money. But this is coming to us from Zero Hedge, and Bloomberg is the one that broke this story that the owner of OnlyFans, Leonid Ravadinsky died at age 43. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
It is interesting. And of course, the whole OnlyFans pornography stuff, you could go into Pornhub, is a psyop and a crazy society destruction in of itself that is obviously intentional. So
yeah, it definitely seems like it is. And the amount of people that are desensitized due to watching that kind of stuff online and then expecting their partner to do that's not how people, the things you see on those sites is not how normal everyday people operate.
In my podcast, I've been talking a lot about Plato's Cave and how we're in such a constructed fake world, not just with the internet, but that's part of it, that it's really like looking at a shadow in a cave and expecting that to be a representation of a relationship or actually real human connection. And it's so many people are falling for it because it's almost like a form of escapism from all the trauma and all the stuff that people don't want to deal with in relationships that are hard or difficult. It's easy, it's an easy out, and it's highly addictive. So you're not using hard drugs and whatnot, but it has, I think, more long-term devastating effects, or just as devastating.
Absolutely, I would agree. Have you been looking into any of the Palm Beach Pete stuff at all? And this Epstein lookalike that is supposedly in Florida, and people have pointed out that his teeth look almost identical to each other. And this is a real photo
I
of
see.
Jeffrey Epstein here on the left, and this is Pete, Palm Beach Pete, here on the
Right.
right. That his teeth look almost dang near identical. But I think it's interesting here that this photo on the left of Epstein, uh, it looks like he almost has dentures in or something. Like his gums look kind of weird here. I don't know if it's because of the photo or not, but
Really? Those are awfully crooked teeth on the bottom for dentures.
true. You would want them pretty.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have dentures, so I don't know. My grandmother had dentures and they were pretty perfect straight. I don't know.
I mean, hey, that
I,
might be a way to fool people, right?
yeah,
Fool with the crooked ass dentures.
well, I don't know. It's interesting. I haven't looked into this Pete guy, but he does look a lot like him, for sure. But I heard somebody floated to me that they used Hillary Clinton's brother as the body because he had passed away just a month or two before of cancer, and that they used his body instead of Jeffrey Epstein's body because Jeffrey Epstein wasn't what, and they just used his body to carry out, and that's the picture is her brother. And if you go and look up Hillary Clinton's brother, kind of looks like Pete, kind of looks like Epstein. It's actually phenomenal. Some of the theories are coming out, so you should check that out. But that's what I heard. But he really was he wasn't unalive. He passed away, and he died July, and that was done in August or June. It was like in a short period of time. So people were making this strange connection because the features of the dead Epstein were similar with him, including the nose, which didn't match Epstein. So check that one out. It's really interesting. But this Pete guy looks, I don't know, he's close. Has he had any comment about it? Like, has he said anything?
Yeah, he said a lot. He said that he knew Epstein, that he used to party with Epstein.
Back in the day, when I was living in the city, I went to a couple of parties and Epstein was there at a party, and he was kind of creepy, just sitting on a couch, staying to himself, and he wasn't the magnitude that he is or was.
Maybe he was Epstein's body double while he was alive.
Well, there's an interesting thing here because I decided to search the files for it to see if I could, find anything on in the files of a body double or a twin, and I found this file when I typed in twin, and we don't know who it's from because the name has been redacted here, but it's to Jeffrey Epstein, and this is on Tuesday, the 8th of November 2011. It says, "Saw your twin last night. My heart almost jumped out of my chest when I saw him. The likeness is unbelievable, but he was hugging and kissing another man in the street. Must be the same man that one of your friends, I think Faith, saw recently." So, how long ago did they know about this? I mean, if Palm Beach Pete has been out there supposedly for a really long time, right? Has no one ever commented? None of his friends? People have seen him driving around Palm Beach in Florida all of these years, and he's apparently a very social person. He plays tennis and the stock trading and
Right.
real estate and all of that. Like, no one in 7 years has said that.
Oh
Bro,
my God, it's Epstein.
yeah, it's so weird that it's just happening right now. But this is a real document. Inside of the files here is the reference
Who
number.
was the first one who broke the Palm Beach Pete? Like, who was the first one who? Was there someone online? Do we know who this person is who sort of said, "Hey, look at this guy"?
So apparently it happened because this guy filmed this Epstein lookalike outside of his car window in a convertible driving on the highway in Palm Beach, and
Right.
it went viral. It went viral online, and then he then dropped a video. He decided to come out and be like, "Hey, I saw that my video went viral because someone filmed me driving my car on the highway," and he said, "I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete."
So you're not Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete. I'm so not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just me being me. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. He's a very bad person, what he did, obviously, and he is dead.
And then Palm Beach Pete was born out of that, which is kind of genius to do, but it seems like he's capitalizing on it's exactly like Hawk to a Girl. And I would expect in the near future to see him have his own podcast and be doing merch sales. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein hats. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein shirts, and running crypto scams. I mean, I fully expect that to happen.
How are we ever gonna do cryptocurrency and stuff if there's so many scams? Everything just seems so unstable right now, and I don't know how I feel about this new world that's coming in. It seems really chaotic, for lack of a better word.
Well, that's the thing with it, is that you can just create your own coin. Anybody can create their own crypto coin. And if they have enough people to pump it and it gets to a certain number, then the majority holder sells all their stuff with it, then drops the stock, and then basically, relinquishes the entire thing. So then they just make all of their money. It's pump and dump scams, right? You get people behind
Right.
a coin, they buy into it, and then you sell out the coin from underneath it.
I would say to people out there, if you invest in something, it needs to be based on something a little more solid than somebody's meme or their temporary fame on the internet. Like, you want to invest in something that's like got real solid value. That's what I mean about the shadows on the cave wall. We're all looking at illusions. It's like you need something real in the real world, not porn, not Hawk to a Girl, not crypto or Palm Beach Pete. You need something real, and it's like people don't even know what real is anymore.
I mean, with AI right now, you don't even know. I mean, one of the photos of Palm Beach Pete, I don't know if I can find it, but it had clearly been put through some sort of AI reconstruction.
We don't even know if Netanyahu's real. That's how crazy the world is. It's like fake Netanyahu videos doing a speech. Maybe he's hiding. I don't know. We don't even know what's real anymore. That's the whole problem with this internet thing.
But what do you think about the Netanyahu situation? Because some people are saying that entire, I mean, it's kind of weird, that one video of him where he's in the coffee shop. You know which one I'm talking about? Like, it was like right after the coffee looks like it's not doing movements with gravity.
Yeah, no, most of those videos are definitely AI. They might be based on something he really did in the past, explaining why the business is closed, or there's these discrepancies. Same with the ones him appearing with the other military leaders or whatever, and the media. The media is not even there. I don't know if this means that he's dead, but he's definitely in hiding somewhere. He's not I think it means he's not in Tel Aviv. If he wants to prove he's alive, he's probably going to have to show up at the White House with Donald Trump, because nobody's going to believe it. And there's all this confusion, but those are not real videos of him live where he's saying at the time he's saying it at. So if he's not dead, then he's in hiding somewhere. And there's so much lockdown there on what you can report that I don't think they want you to know how bad it is. But those videos are not real. They're AI all the way, 100%.
It's so interesting because Trump just announced the other day that we have essentially won the war.
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
Which is really crazy to me, Melissa, because how can we win a war in Iran in just a couple of weeks, but Russia cannot take over Ukraine in 4 years? But do you realize that the Ukrainian-Russian war is still going on right now? It's still
I
happening.
do.
It just has faded into the background.
It's
Right.
not the focus of where they want your attention. I think what Trump's doing now, it's the same thing he just announced that they were in negotiations or they were in talks and Iran said, no, we're not. I think Trump, he thinks he's clever. He thinks he's going to fool people in our media, and he probably has fooled his hardcore followers. But I think what he's doing is he thinks that if he can say certain things, it'll raise the market and make things look better and make his numbers better. I think he's trying to falsify, again, shadows on the wall. We're paying attention to shadows on the wall. He's trying to falsify the markets and make things look good and have it go up and say, hey, look what I did. And because I'm the great negotiator, and it's all just a show. It's all an illusion. We are sitting in a cave watching shadows, and we are, well, not all of us, obviously not you and I, hopefully, but a good majority of the public is starting to see it, though. They're going, what are you talking about? Like, this is crazy. But his hardcore followers will still be sitting in the cave with him. They won't be, they'll be like, see, Trump said this, Trump said that. Trump now is saying CNN gave him 100% ratings. It's like, well, yeah, but 2 years ago, Trump said CNN was fake news. So which one is it? You know, he's playing the markets around, and that happens. They play the markets. They put out false information to alter markets all the time. And I think that's what Donald Trump's trying to do, but he's not doing it so good. He's trying to manipulate the economy quickly to gain favor.
It seems like he sold out his base followers for good media press coverage.
Yeah. I also always think that because it's all controlled by the same bankers, that this could have always been the plan all along. These guys thinking a really big scope of picture. And let's be honest, we had military grade style psyops and propaganda playing against us. And I think they did a good job on a good portion of the population by getting us to believe in left and right. Or that Trump was going to make America great again. And I mean, really, if you believe in any kind of esoteric law of attraction and you're responding to make America great again, what you're saying is your country sucks and you're attracting that to you, right? You're saying, you're like, I don't know. And when I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, okay, it's not perfect, but we were literally telling the world, yeah, we suck and we want to be great again. Like, come on, like, well, that's actually a really bad message. And remember, Donald Trump is New Think. He's schooled in New Think. It's kind of like law of attraction. And when you hear him talk, you can hear his, like, it's huge, it's big, you can hear him. That when he was younger, he was into that sort of, it's like those self-help books that teach you how to attract success and power. You can tell that was an influence and he was in with that. But again, that's all an illusion, because behind the scenes, I'm sure if you dig far enough into Donald Trump or any of the people around him, all their success is not on honest business.
I just think it's so interesting how Iran is 2 times bigger. The country is 2 times bigger than the country of Ukraine.
Yeah. 99 people.
So if the U.S. military can conquer Iran in a couple of weeks, even a month or 2 months or 3 months or even a year, it's so unbelievable compared to Russia and Ukraine. Why hasn't Russia defeated Ukraine by now? It makes almost 0 sense. How did this happen? Why did it Why has it not been completed? Why did Putin even invade this country if he didn't think that he could do it really quickly? So the only logical conclusion is that it's been drawn out on purpose.
Yeah, it's either been drawn out on purpose or Trump knows his base believes in magical thinking. I mean, his whole base believes in this eschatology where it's the end of days and they're bringing about the recoming of this, and with the Zionist stuff, their Messiah is coming, Jesus will come back. They're like excited about this war. So they want to believe that this is all happening, and he's got a lot of control on people still, and there are people who are excited about this war. I've seen them comment on it, and to me it's like self-fulfilling prophecy. It doesn't have to happen. You just hear Peter Thiel talking about the Antichrist. I mean, why is a tech bro lecturing on the Antichrist? That's weird. It's like this whole thing, this Antichrist thing, and this whole war it's a giant psyop against his base, because they need the TPUSA. Everything ties into this, where they want that energy from those people to help push this war forward. And I think, yeah, they could be dragging Ukraine out long for on purpose, but I think there are a certain amount of people who believe that Trump is like a god and he could just go in there and fix it like that, because they are so brainwashed, and they have been they're for Christians who seem so strong about Christianity, they seem to be worshiping an icon to the most extreme. And I think they have this belief that he can magically do that.
That he's ordained by God. He is the Messiah, the one. He is
Paula, yeah, Paula White. Have you seen her? His religious advisor. She crazy. She's speaking in tongues. She's one of those evangelical Christian nationalists, Zionists, and I don't know if she even believes what she's saying, but she is crazy. She is speaking in tongues up there. She's like, if I walk on White House grounds, God walks on White House grounds. Give-a-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Like, seriously. And it ain't. And I'm like, what? What are you even saying, woman? What are you doing? And so this is who he's surrounded by too. And this is a huge part of his voting base. Believes in this sort of Zionist end of days stuff that's probably not even the Bible. Catholics certainly don't believe in it. It's probably not there the way they say it is, but they believe it. And so this is their sign that Jesus is coming back. So, and if Trump is the purveyor of that, he could do this. He could win a war in 2 days. It's when you just open your eyes and see who's surrounding him, you're like, oh my God, we're in big trouble. The Christian nationalists are running the military.
Yes, I unfortunately agree. What do you think the TPUSA's role is in this?
Oh, from what I understand in some of the research stuff that I've been looking at, it was originally founded, a lot of Zionists had something to do with it anyway. So I think it was always meant to grab the youth and steer them into that mode for another generation of voters. I think they originally had in mind to groom and craft Charlie Kirk as a presidential candidate and a president, and then Erica Kirk as the first lady. I don't think their marriage was some authentic love marriage at all. I don't believe that. And so I think that's why things went south. And she's probably has something to do with everything. I won't say it because I want to get in trouble. I don't want you to have any lawsuits from TPUSA, but I think it's obviously all constructed. And when he didn't go with the donors, because the donors control everything, right? The billionaires, the politicians are just slaves. They just do what the donors and the billionaires say. So when Charlie stops doing that, then they have to come up with another backup, which is make him a martyr. Let's try to lure people in. They traumatize us, do the whole assassination thing. When you're traumatized, that's why they push so fast to get all this memorial stuff and all this TPUSA stuff out right away, because they have to get you when you're in that trauma state to emotionally attach you, just like a trauma bond, just like an abusive person would. So they can gather lots of money and lots of momentum while they have the grievance and the despair and everybody who's like, not thinking straight and not saying, hey, that doesn't make any sense, that none of this makes sense. So I think that's kind of where they're going with that. And I think it was meant to harness in a new generation of voters onto this whole Zionist, Christian nationalist, GOP sort of platform.
Well, it's pretty interesting when you look back at Erica Kirk's history and where, how she kind of got her start and the schools that she was involved with, the Tesseract School, what her mother was doing. Her mother is essentially a weapons developer for the freaking military. Like, what do you mean? It's like these people are shepherded and herded into positions of power, but it's made to look like it's organic, but they've been predestined and predetermined to already be there.
Yeah.
And then
why
just kind of they're just put there because of who their family are. It goes almost exactly like with my documentary, A Clockwork Shining, right? How the military was involved with a lot of these famous musicians and bands, right? And how their fathers all had really big military ties, or somebody close in their family all had really big military ties. It's almost that exact same thing, but not with the music industry. All of the big people, all of the people that are ahead of a lot of these big corporations and run a lot of these media moguls are top doctors, top scientists, top architects, people that run these big corporations have all been put there. They just don't stumble into it. Now, they might feel like they kind of stumble into it, but that's not really the reality. It's set up to make it look like they stumbled into it, but that's not really what happened. They were shepherded and herded, and they were put into that position from the very start, from the time that they were a very young child.
Yeah, and they're doing this all throughout everything for TPUSA. It's clear Charlie was groomed from the beginning. We've always been being groomed all along. If you go and look at, you were talking about movies and how they brainwash us, and look, TPUSA is possibly like a Moonies cult because they have a faith division now. It's like Moonies 2.0. The whole thing, people who are connected to it are connected to people in the Moonies. Like, it gets really weird. But they're grooming us. Movie in 1986, they released the first Top Gun. What happened about 4 or 5 years later? Gulf War. 2021, they released Top Gun 2. And go look at the storyline with us. What's happening now? Ukraine and then Iran. They're always grooming us for this nationalism to prep us for war. So that we'll be like, yeah, and we think we just watched a movie. We think we just watched an assassination. Like, we just think we're watching a political debate. We think we're watching stuff, but we're being groomed and we're being prepared for what they want to roll out at all times. At least, especially with entertainment, at least 5 years ahead of time. And my husband worked in intelligence, and even a year before they even announced that they were going to invade into Desert Storm, they were coming to him and asking him about camouflage gear. Their department in intelligence, what would be the best camouflage gear for a desert in the Middle East. So they were planning it. That they just say, "Oh my God, we have to go now. This is sudden." But a year before, they were already planning these stuff. And then 4 years before that, they're releasing movies trying to create this nationalism. You can just watch them roll this stuff out. It's like a factory of, it's so crazy, and there's no difference. And guess who was against the Iran war? Of course, Charlie was warning about it. He was warning that exactly what's happening would happen.
What was that you sent me before we started the show?
Oh gosh. I don't think it's anything. I think it might just be legit. But apparently, one of Charlie's earliest mentors died in a pickleball accident.
Do you think that's true? Have you tried to look it up?
Well, from what I can understand, he was playing a couple weeks ago and fell and hit his head, and now he's dead. So it could be true, but it's just everybody's going because we're so hyped up about conspiracy theories and all the stuff rolling out. People think, how do you die in a pickleball accident? Like they're seeing it as a conspiracy theory. Maybe he was off. I don't know that he was always that close, but he did run like cheerleading organizations. He was Mr. Cheerleader. He invented modern cheerleading or something like that. So he, who knows what he's really involved in. And it could be legitimately that the guy, he's 76, he fell and hit his head, and 2 weeks later he died. But people are going, this looks weird. How do you die in a pickleball accident? This looks planned. Who knows? Maybe it is, but it just seems like because Charlie Kirk's on our mind, or some people's mind, and this has happened, and we're in a war, and everything's feel crazy, that this is being pulled into that sort of narrative where now his mentor is dead from a pickleball accident. And I thought that was a little bit humorous, but I mean, I could see it happening. I could see it's a possibility that a 76-year-old overextended himself and fell during pickleball.
Well, according to Fox News, this is completely true.
Mm-hmm.
Key Charlie Kirk mentor Jeff Webb dies in a freak pickleball accident. A dear friend to Charlie. What is happening? This is insane. One of Charlie Kirk's key early mentors has died in a freak pickleball accident. Texas businessman Jeff Webb, described by Kirk's Turning Point USA as a visionary who helped shape generation of young leaders, died Friday at the age of 76, 2 weeks after suffering a serious head injury when he fell playing the popular sport, pickleball. Oh my God.
It's crazy. It's real. Like this is being confirmed, but there's a lot of myths about people. Well, people die in bathtubs. People die eating ham sandwiches, apparently, or on the toilet. But this guy died playing pickleball. I mean, at least he went and doing something he loved, I guess, if it's true.
We need to outlaw pickleball right now. No more playing pickleball. Because
I never even got to try.
Pickleball is dangerous. Nobody play pickleball. I can see that right now. They can do that.
Well, they're making so many laws, and I mean that happens when you're in time of war, but they're making so many crazy laws to shut people up because they need us in this narrative, but you never know. They could be like, okay, we don't want people talking about pickleball right now, so let's outlaw pickleball. We don't want people talking about Jeff Webb. Maybe Jeff Webb's got some weird connections and they don't want us talking about Jeff Webb.
Oh my God. This seems like a script from a movie. This is something
cheerleading.
See in a movie.
I should look into that to see if there's any mysterious stuff around cheerleading or trafficking or strange money laundering, because I'm sure there's got to be something. I can't say that there is, but allegedly, let's say, people need to look into cheerleading, the dark side of cheerleading.
Jeff Webb was widely dubbed the father of modern cheerleading, and this guy just died from a pickleball freak pickleball accident. And he was one of Charlie Kirk's early key mentors. That is insane. That is one story that is it's hard to believe if it wasn't so ridiculous. And I probably wouldn't believed it if you would have just sent me that screenshot, and I would not have looked it up right now and saw this article on Fox News. I would have said, there's no way that's true, because it's so silly, so stupid. It seems like a literal movie is just playing out.
I think you might have done a show on someone talking about the Truman Show, or maybe it was somebody else, but it really does feel like we are in a Truman Show. I use the Plato's analogy with the shadows in the cave, but it really does feel like a movie. They've realized the power of film, the power of putting things into narrative and calling them fiction, and they realize that our brains don't subconsciously see it as fiction. They see it as an event that's really happening. And they've realized the extreme power of narrative and movie and how they can control us. And this movie thing is so effective.
Pickleball, and Charlie Kirk.
It's like somebody's playing a really weird game of Cards of Humanity and they shake it up and they're like, Charlie Kirk's mentor died in this of pickleball. Like they're just picking these random cards and putting them together. And we're like, what's going on here? It's literally like, they're like, hey, let's do life as a game, Cards of Humanity game. Like, let's do that. That's funner than movies, huh? That's what I feel like sometimes.
Yeah, it's like the writers of Lost about 5 seasons in, and they're just throwing shit at the wall and figuring out what works and pulling shit out of their hat and being like, oh, let's do this. Oh no, what if we do that? And then it just doesn't make any sense.
Lost in the sauce is a good analogy. And you know what? We don't want to be lost in the sauce. So I say we need to be in reality. So that's why a lot of times I'm like, okay, guys, watch Ryder's show. It's a small show. Ryder's honest. He's amazing, documentaries. Watch my show once in a while. Come to my channel. But then go out and do some gardening. Go out and walk your dog. Do something real. Get out in reality and don't watch the stories and the narratives because like Ryder said, we don't want to get lost in the sauce. It's because once you go down, you can never come out. You have to do real stuff with real people and not see them as left versus right or your enemy.
That's a really big problem that we face as a country is this left versus right paradigm. And they're trying to get everybody, and I think people are kind of fed up with it right now. If we had like another election right now, I don't think that it would go over well at all.
No.
But we got another 3 years to get everybody back on board again, which, mark my words, it's going to happen. There's no way that it doesn't happen. They're going to get everybody back on the voting system, the voting train, go out there and vote to change.
They're going to pull you into the narrative. They're going to pull you into the cave again. They're very good at it. And unfortunately, people are either mostly NPCs or they just don't understand how fragile and easy they are to manipulate. And they don't want to admit that they're not going to stand against the grain or the mega or the whatever group they're in. They're just not going to stand against the rigid rules of it because they don't want to not belong or they're afraid. Like I have a feeling if this mark of the beast stuff is real, if this is all real, I have a feeling most Christians who believe in this are going to take it because they've been pulled in to believe that the system is going to protect them from the mark of the beast. Like I wouldn't surprise me if they're that good that they'll be able to convince them to take whatever.
It seems to be working in that direction. I mean, will protect you from the thing that we're actually doing to you. It's kind of like how the mob works. You know what I mean? They'll go to people like how the mob worked back in the day.
They racket people.
Yeah, they would go to them and be like, you need protection. And then the person's like, well, I don't need protection. Protection from who? It's protection from them. They are the ones that's creating it. They're the ones that's doing it. They essentially want you to pay them so that they don't destroy your business.
Yeah, exactly. And then that that's a small scale, but then no one does anything about it because they have the judge in their pocket and the cops in their pocket and the politician in their pocket so they can get away with it. And it's always us little people and us middle class and us people who are trying to raise our families who get kicked the hardest.
Kicked while we're down. I don't think there is a middle class anymore. I think the middle class has kind of just been eradicated. It's just low income.
Well,
on the board.
the only way out of that is to outlaw usury. Usury destroys all societies. Usury is the destroyer of any kind of healthy country or economy. If you have massive usury, you won't have a middle class. No one can pay it back. No country can pay the interest back. Nobody can pay it back. It was outlawed by the church for a long time. considered it's a huge sin. And I'm not going to say who loves usury or who believes that I don't want to get your channel in trouble, but usury is probably one of those wicked things that they're doing to the middle class in our and all of societies. And we can blame the banks for that.
And the Rothschilds. Don't forget the Rothschilds, Melissa.
Oh, yes. I am talking about them all the time. But yeah, I like when I used to work as a cashier, they used to try to make me get credit cards and I felt so guilty. I couldn't do it. I couldn't push credit cards on people at 31% interest. I was like, that's disgusting. I would never take this credit card, but yet, you know, we're taught to hustle for these banks to trap people as slaves into 30% interest credit cards that once you get at that level of interest, you can't pay it off. If you get over a third of the way, it gets almost impossible to pay the debt off.
Well, you know that Epstein blamed Bill Clinton for the housing market crash, right? He said that the whole reason that the entire thing happened is because Bill Clinton told all of the banks to give out loans to everybody. Anybody that applied for a housing loan, no matter what their credit was, the banks gave it to them. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. The banks started giving loans to people that could not afford the loans, and then they defaulted on their house, and then the house went back to the bank.
Yeah, and then and the other thing is once anything crashes or the interest rate goes up, your little tiny low interest rate, that you can't afford it. You know, you're buying beyond your means. It's totally true.
Yeah, it was a multi-layered, multifaceted plan that literally ruined the entire thing. Now he of course blamed Bill Clinton, but you know, who knows? That Steve Bannon interview was a very fascinating interview. That was supposedly around 16 hours worth of footage that we only got a few hours from.
So Steve Bannon interviewed him for 16 hours?
Yep.
Only a psychopath could do that. I'm sorry, I couldn't sit there for 16 hours interviewing or even talking about myself. That would be, I would be like, okay, we're done.
Straight. It was filmed over a period of days, but there's 16 other hours of footage of him interviewing Epstein.
So I guess that tells you something about Steve Bannon and where his loyalties really lie. And I don't think it's America First.
He was supposedly doing a documentary on him, but the documentary never came out. It was called Monsters, and that's where we found that Epstein had another island. It wasn't just Little St. James. It was he had another island called the Island of Dr. Moreau. That was disclosed in the trailer of this Monsters.
So they're like that movie. And that tells you a lot. Well, I heard they were doing experimentations and cloning and vaccination stuff and different weird DNA experiments on a lot of their victims on those islands. So that makes sense.
Yep. So we had two islands, not just one island. And the reference for the island is Island of Dr. Moreau is a book. Originally a book that was adapted into a movie. I think there was two movies. There was original and then there was a remake in the 90s.
A lot of creepy movies, but I don't know. It's so bizarre.
Super bizarre. McDonald's has been in the news a lot recently. Did you see the CEO?
What, eating that burger and not really eating the burger, enjoying it?
That was so strange. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it's clearly that their food is crap and no one should be eating it, allegedly, so Ryder doesn't get in trouble. And I've heard all sorts of strange things about McDonald's that might be not true. Some people don't understand how they could get access to that much beef. So some people, and we are not saying this, but some people are alleging that it's like, you know, it's like not all beef. That I don't know if they're using humans, but there's obviously filler. It's not good content. It's not good food. And if they thought putting their CEO up there, who is clearly does not eat his own product, was going to convince people, it just, I think it shows how stupid they think we are. Like, they must think we're really stupid. Like, that we can't tell the acting, but there's something, I think there's a big problem with McDonald's and the whole process of it. And I mean, let's be honest, we don't really know how that food gets made. We don't see it from field to plate. We don't see the process. We have no idea what's going on with half of these fast food joints. So anything's possible. Soylent Green, whatever, it could happen.
You know what's really weird? Not one single fast food restaurant in the United States owns or operates their own beef farms.
Right.
Not McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, In-N-Out, none of them. When 40% of the US population eats beef from fast food restaurants on a daily basis, not one single one of them, not a single one of them, owns or runs or operates their own beef farm. That shit makes no sense.
Well, and the thing is they get it from multiple sources. It's not like you can go to smaller places and they're like, yeah, we get ours from the Great Ranch over here, and all our meat comes from all these cows, and we can track them. Their meat comes from so many different places, like multiple sources, and I'm sure they put soy filler. I'm sure that's one element to it, but like, who knows? Why would, after all the twisted stuff and the psychopaths that we know that are up there, why would we trust them to feed us in that? Like, why would we trust them to be transparent about what's in their food? They could lie on the ingredients and no one would ever know.
But do you know what McDonald's does do?
What do they do?
They run hospitals. 144 Ronald McDonald houses, 144 locations throughout the United States.
Do you think there is some money laundering going there, or some kind of strange stuff, allegedly?
A company that's main product is beef doesn't own or operate any beef farms, but instead runs and operates 144 sick and ill children's centers.
Yeah. And look, I don't want to get in trouble here, but most of the reason why we're sick and ill, it's not just the food, it's all the stuff they're spraying, the stuff they spray on crops, the weather control stuff they're spraying, the chemicals that are being sprayed on the crops, the chemicals that are in the air from all of the war that they're doing. They're trying to block out the sun. They're putting stuff in vaccinations. The list goes on as to why we're sick. So part of that is the fast food. And it changed in the 90s. McDonald's never used to be as horrible with their food. In the 90s, there was some kind of bill passed. Something got passed where they were, and changed in the laws about food, that they were able to give you really garbage food. And I've seen it go downhill because it was way better before. And I don't eat out a lot of fast food. I usually try to go to local places. I eat mostly at home because it's so gross and I can taste the difference. But I can tell you one thing. My grandmother was born in the 30s, and she would say to me all along, Melissa, there's something wrong with the food. And I'm like, what do you mean, Grandma? She's like, the milk, everything, there's just something wrong with it. Just something, so it tastes so strange now. She's like, it's not like when I was young. And I didn't understand what she meant until I went to a real farm and they gave me real cream from the cow. And I was like, and real milk, and I tasted it and I'm like, oh my God, my grandmother's right. There's something wrong with the food. This is real. And I've never had this before. And this was years ago. And so now we don't know, and so it's ironic that they're opening up all these hospitals. It's almost like another way. I mean, it's supposed to be a charity, but I don't trust charities either. But they're making profit off of, you shove it in one end and then you come out another end sick, and then they can make money there. It's weird. And I don't know if there's anything that you think more devious beyond it. I'm sure there is, but it's really bizarre that they would be in the medicine field or the care field for medical stuff. I think, aren't the Ronald McDonald houses like places for families to stay when their kids are sick?
Yes.
It's almost twisted. Not almost. It is.
It's very twisted. I don't know if you have seen the commercial for KFC where they baptize this person in a lake of gravy and it comes out a chicken wing. Have you seen that?
I have not had the honor of seeing that.
Well, it is very true, but it was a real KFC commercial, and I feel like they're trying to tell us something there. You can put two and two together on your own to try and figure that one out. But when it comes to McDonald's and this stuff, it's okay. If 40% of your product is a certain product, but you don't own any factories to produce that product, you don't run or operate or own any of those factories, it would almost be like if Ford or Toyota or Hyundai or any of these big car manufacturers that are responsible for a majority of the cars that people drive every single day did not own a manufacturing plant.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Toyota just did not own or operate or run any Toyota manufacturing plants? That would sound crazy. Well, why does it not sound crazy that McDonald's doesn't own or operate any beef farms?
Because my guess is, I don't know where they're getting it from, if they're getting it from America, but if they're getting it out of America, my guess is they could be doing some shifty stuff. That the same laws wouldn't apply. And we don't know what that shifty stuff is. Like that would that they will, like Coca-Cola, all those places, if you start digging into them, you could end up bye-bye. They'll get rid of you before they'll let you expose how hideous their companies really are. And I drink Coke Zero once, here and there. So now I feel really guilty. I'm like, what am I putting in my body? But the food it's all money at the bottom of the thing. It's all money, and how much money can we get? It doesn't matter about society. This is what I'm talking about when it's money and usury. Society, people, connection, love, growth, healthy people don't matter anymore. It's all money at the bottom of the hill. It's all about profit, and it doesn't matter what you have to do to get that money. You just do it. And only psychopaths think like that. The ends justifies the means. That's Machiavellianism. That is like Stalin. That is a psychopath. These people are psychopaths, but it doesn't look like they're doing anything because they're not doing a direct aggression against you, but yet they are.
Sounds like Erica Kirk, right?
Oh my God. She is. We have a lot of naive people on this planet that actually are buying her act, but I'll say that for sure, because psychopaths can only mimic. They can't authentically push out those emotions because they don't have them, and she is not authentic in any way, shape, or form.
Will do anything to get money, power, and influence. That sounds like her.
Yeah. We'll do anything. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is right here and has nothing to do with human. And I mean, there's this whole idea that they're trying to wipe out and take over the planet and wipe out certain people. I'm not going to get into that, but it's like at the top of it is people think there's some kind of like really evil figure that wants to wipe out, any humanity, any trace of human or the organic world. And I mean, I think you lose in the end because everything comes from the organic world, even the synthetic, even the digital, it all comes from the organic world. So I think they lose in the end, but psychopaths don't think about that one. They think they're geniuses, and they're clever, and they're very clever, and they're not stupid, but they're not wise, and they're not connected to source. That's for sure.
I rewatched a movie called Extinction last night on Netflix. It's about an alien invasion, but it turns out that it's not really an alien invasion. It's humans that fled to Mars from an AI robotic synthetic takeover. And the robots don't know that they're robots. The synthetics don't know that they're synthetic. And then they think that it's aliens that is coming back to kill them and take over the planet, but it's really not aliens, it's humans coming back to take the planet back over from the robots.
It sounds like a psyop film. It sounds like a film that's prepping us for some kind of crazy thing. You know how I know we're organic is if you can produce a baby from your body, you're organic. If you have to mechanically make it with your hands and construct it in a lab or in a pot, then you're not.
Clone it.
Which is why they're trying to destroy natural reproductivity. The powers that be. That's why they're trying to destroy it with all this chemicals and crap. Because it's this. I did a show where I talked about this, the different stages of religion, and we started off in the goddess stage, and the women used to be at the top of the sort of totem pole in worship because the womb was considered the sacred portal in which life came through, birth through. So the women was highly regarded, and that shifted as we got land and agriculture. Everything starts to shift, and men become more important, and war and defending the land. But originally, the basis was mother, father, child. That's the Trinity, and women were the sacred womb. And I always see stuff. Men and women need to work together, obviously, because mother, father, child is the sacredness. But there's an assault on the real portal, which is natural birth and bringing real life onto the planet. There's an attack on it, and that's how I kind of see it. I'm not suggesting we go back to the goddess culture. I don't know that that would be the solution for our times, but that's where things started off.
It really seems like that they wanted to make everybody infertile in order to then turn around and sell them the IVF treatments. They can make double the amount of money.
They can make it's all about money, and then they can control who can have children and who can't. And those are devastating. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. A lot of times your babies can be born premature and with defects, and then you're in the NICU, and it can be very stressful. They can be formed with a lot of issues. And it's a whole stressful process for the people who really just want to have a baby and a family like healthy humans want. But I do still think there's this attack on the womb, and the problem with a lot of these people is they're not behaving like normal people anymore because the internet. They think they're celebrities. They think they're worshiping idols. They think that they're not concerned about the baby or the family. They're concerned about clicks and views and money. Like whenever it comes down to that, and you're not, concerned about your baby being healthy and being loved and connected to the family, you're done. It's lost. It doesn't matter how much money you have. But I think our society, the people just don't have good values anymore. They're disconnected from families. They're very shallow. It's really expensive to live. Nobody knows how to grow their own food. And there's just a lot of stuff going on with our society that adds to problems. So it's content specific. I mean, if you are making money and you have two mature adults and you're providing a safe home and food and love, you're good. But if you're like a drug addict or totally immature, or you still want to party and go to the bar, probably not so good. And I mean, that's the thing. We have this whole culture now that it's not there to foster healthy family dynamics.
I would agree with that. I think things need to change. I think people need to have an incentive to have children in order for them to want children, for good people to have children, because it seems like the people that could actually have children are not the ones that are having children. And I think that we need to have some sort of process that is, oh, you want to have a child? Here's a bunch of money. Yeah, like other countries do. Literally, other countries in the world pay the parents to have children.
Or at least give mothers time off of work to raise their babies when they're infants, not 3 weeks. Let mothers have at least 6 months to be with their babies. You know, I had a year off in Canada. When I had my son, I had a year. And then after I went back to work, and when he was 18 months, I quit because most of my money was go to daycare, and I stayed home with him till he was 7 and in school, and I was working again. And then I was still there most of the times after school. So I was with my son a lot and did a lot of stuff with him, and he didn't have to be shuffled to a daycare at 6 in the morning. You know, all his little infancy life, I was there and we were at home, and I was able to give him a stable foundation and routines and a stable personality. And he's a good person because of it, I think. I mean, I wish that for everyone, but I mean, if we're making women work and we have to have 2, 3 income homes, and these women have to get back to work after 3 weeks, I mean, that's horrible. That's so hard on women. It's insane to leave your baby and go back to work. I'd be bawling my eyes out.
Is that the standard in Canada? Is a year off?
So it used to be 3 months, then they put it up to 6 months, and by the time I had my son, it was a year off. You can split it with your spouse if you choose to. Like the mother could take the first 6 months off, and the spouse could take some time off. They could switch it if they want, but it is the standard that you would get off if you were working is a year. And I took the whole year because my ex-husband at the time, he ran his own company, so he couldn't take any time off because he wasn't in that system. So I just took the whole year off. And then eventually I ended up staying home with him because the daycare was outrageously expensive, and it was like I was exhausted by the time I worked all week, and then was doing crock pot meals and cleaning the house and looking after the baby when I got home. I was ready to collapse. It was like, okay, I've got way too much on my plate. And that's exactly what happens. Women, not only do they work 40 hours, they have to take care of the kids all morning, all night, as soon as they get home, all weekend, clean up, make meals, make lunches. They have to do it all. And they just collapse. They can't do it.
It's incredible that a country just right above us has figured this out. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of problems with Canada now. There's a lot of problems with Canada. Don't get me wrong. But
with the birth and the child and being giving the mother time off from work. I mean, that is, from my research, that is the standard. Japan is 1 year off, 1 to 2 years off, and they pay you for all that time off. I think Russia is the same way. Most all other countries, it's like that. Only in the United States.
We don't know the effects of putting kids in daycare really early. We don't know how that could be why kids have so much problems or are in online or personality disorders or anxiety. We don't know the effects of that, of sticking them in daycare from the time they're 2 or 3 months old and taking them away from their mother. I'm guaranteeing you that has psychological effects that nobody knows about yet because no one's done a proper study on it.
Well, not only that, just ripping the child away from their mother as soon as it's born too. Like everything that we do here is just completely backwards. It's all backwards. We rip the child directly from the mother's arms. We immediately cut the umbilical cord and then we shoot them up with all these all this stuff. Circumcise them immediately if they're a male. Like it's just which is another traumatization ritual.
I wouldn't let them circumcise. I shouldn't say this. My son's going to kill me, but I wouldn't let them do that to him. And everybody harassed me and bullied me. And I was like, I won't tell you what I said. I got quite nasty with everyone. And I'm like, get out of here. It wasn't standard. They stopped doing it in Canada. And they said, if you want it, you have to pay for it. And I'm like, you're not mutilating my baby. Get out of here.
That's exactly.
They don't do it in Europe. They don't do it in Europe, a standard. They don't.
Australia, they don't do it either. Like all these other places don't do the things that is standard here. Like you have to tell them in Europe and these other countries if you want your kids circumcised. Like they just automatically do it here. It's like an automatic standard practice here.
It's horrible. They have to strap that baby down and cut the skin off, and they scream.
Of course they do. It's cutting a part of your body off.
Yep. It's like it's incredible what we do. And we don't know the effects of that, like I said, that trauma on taking babies away from the mother, being in daycare, being around other kids and chaos. We have disconnected from your family. You have what you will have is you'll have a whole bunch of kids that are really good at working and being disconnected from their family, prepped and primed for it.
And disconnected from their spirituality. Melissa, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. It was an amazing conversation. Can you let people know where to find you, plug your channel, plug your social media?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say my channel. It's called The Clusterfuck 101 on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, and the website is theclusterfuck.com. I literally changed it. I got so fed up with everything on the thing. I just literally on the live stream said we're changing the channel name right now, and it's kind of humorous, but I mean it. I'm dedicated to it. So I'm on YouTube. There's a website. I just stream there. I'm building my community there. It streams on Twitch and Kick, and I'm also over on Substack. It streams there, and there's free. Everything's all my articles and everything are free on Substack for people to check out. So there you have it.
Thank you very much. Really appreciated. The links to Melissa's information will be in the description of this video. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to help the channel in the algorithm. Share, subscribe at the bell icon as well for notifications. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.